Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Kill Lancer Gaming. Don't forget that thumbs up button, that definitely will help in the YouTube algorithm. Also comment and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get into our video today. You ever play those RPGs that pissed you off to the point where you just want to rip your console out and just throw it over the floor and stuff like that because of the frustration? Well, with me, when it comes down to certain RPGs, I'm going to bring this one up, which is Fire Emblem Three Houses. That game really pissed me off when I first started the game, and the difficulty is just crazy. It's because like certain moves that you make on the game, you have to be really careful. It's because you might lose a character if you don't level up your characters in the right way. And the crazy thing is they give you a certain time duration of when you'll be able to level your characters up. Now, back then, the older Fire Emblems, I feel like they give you even more of a decreased time of how long you can level your characters up. And playing from the Game Boy Advance and some of the DS ones, and note this, I never beat any of them because of the difficulty. And when it comes down to the Three Houses, it took me a while to get a handle of the system and how to level up. And this is just one of the RPGs that I had a hard time with like a while back. But as I started to progress and start to learn the mechanics, I got a handle on it. Another one would be Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii. And then eventually, once it came out for the Nintendo Switch, I just blew through it like water. But let's go back to the Xenoblade for the Nintendo Wii. Now, that game was really difficult for me, and especially the difficulty on that game, you can't change it. And not that I want to change it, I want to play the game at its full capacity. I want to learn the ins and outs of that game. Now, when I first started to learn how to use Shulk's visionary ability and stuff like that, I became too reliant on it instead of relying on my characters, all my other characters' abilities and stuff like that. And if you don't get a handle on learning the mechanics of the system, you're going to constantly keep dying. And there's going to be a part in the game where you can't use Shulk's special ability. And that's when I really started getting destroyed when I was playing the Wii version. And also, when you get to the last boss, you're definitely going to have a harder time. It's because your boss can see into the future. Spoiler alert, you're going to be fighting a boss that can see into the future. And there's so many times that I died playing the Wii version because I made it all the way to the end of the game, and I just kept getting decimated in that game, was because I didn't learn the ins and outs of the system. And I just felt like every time I kept progressing, I thought I kept learning something, I felt like the game just kept getting harder and harder. But when the Nintendo Switch version came out, still the same difficulty, and they just had minor little tweaks in the game where if you go to sleep, you can get more, you'll be able to use your experience that you gained through battle and stuff like that to level up your characters. But I didn't use that to near the end of the game anyway. But I got a chance to stop relying on Shulk's visionary ability and started relying more so on my character's ability as a whole. But I was hearing rumors as well that people hated Shulk's visionary ability. Not a whole bunch of people, but I started hearing that it became more of a burden than anything. So once I started learning everybody's quirks and stuff, I breezed right through the definitive edition of Xenoblade Chronicles. Now we're going to get on to the next game that I had difficulty with. Sucky Roll, Devils Die Twice. Now this has RPG elements in it from what my understanding is, and this game was difficult for me. It was very difficult, but I know you got a lot of Souls fanboys out there saying, oh, this game was so easy, this game is this and that. I understand that's for you specifically, but for me, I'm not too big into the Souls series. But I did play Code Vein. Code Vein had a lot of story in it, and it was easy for me to get a handle on that game. And I love Code Vein. Code Vein is actually a really good game. It was enough for me to get into and work my way through the game and learn the core mechanics. But Sucky Roll to me was just relying on a lot of parrying. It was a lot of parrying in that game, and sometimes I felt like I wasn't getting rewarded each and every time. And the more and more I progressed through the game and stuff like that, every time I kept trying to use a special ability that I would learn, I feel like the enemy would pretty much read my reaction time to it and capitalize off me so fast. I'm like, yo, like, what the heck is going on? Like, this game is just frustrating as heck. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that felt that way about that game, that plays those type of games like me, going in not knowing too much about, you know, the core mechanics of Souls games and stuff like that. But I always give different games a chance. I always like to give different games a chance. And that's just me. Maybe everybody else may not feel the same way about that, giving games chances, but I do. It's because I want to be I want to be very diverse when it comes down to playing different games. I want to have an understanding of those games, but also I want to be a part of different fan bases to learn different things when it comes down to games as well. But I'm going to hit you with one more game to leave us off at a standstill. Okay, Persona 5. Oh my God, Persona 5 was one of those games, and that's one of my favorite series. Was one of those games that really pissed me off so much. I level grind so much in that game. I felt like even though I did, it wasn't rewarding, was because I would get to a boss, like more so towards near the end of the game, when I had like 2 bosses before I got to the last boss. And the boss that I had to fight, which was one of the main protagonist's rivals, and also the guy that started this whole entire conspiracy with the main character Ren. And that's why I'm going to call him, yes, I'm going to call him Ren, because that's his name in anime, to give y'all guys, you know, more so a distinction of the main hero, or I could just call him Joker for you. But when I was fighting the boss before the last boss and stuff like that, well, before I thought it was the last boss, this guy just kept on changing up his tactics. Each and every time I kept overcoming this guy, I just felt as though like the mechanics in the game kept shifting. And I'm like, okay, so I lost against this guy 5 times and I'm doing different things, and I just felt like he just kept counteracting me each and every time. And I'm saying, okay, so I gotta step back and think what personas to use during this time frame. And every time I kept using different personas, I'm like, yo, what am I doing wrong? I had to take my personas that I was using and refuse them in order to get a stronger persona to compensate for that. But also I had to be mindful of what personas to fuse together in order to get those different abilities in order to overcome this enemy. But it wasn't just Persona 5. Persona 3 was extremely hard, was because I feel like that took core mechanics when it came down to the difficulty of Persona 1 and 2, but also the Shin Megami Tensei series as well. And I never beat that game, and I'm hoping that Atlas will remake that game, and I've been hearing rumors about it. I might do a video on it when I get more information on it. But guys, let me know your stories about RPGs that pissed you off. Let me know what you guys think of this video as well. Comment, subscribe to the channel, and give this video a thumbs up. Let me know what games pissed you off, guys. This is Lancer. We got more coming up.